Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our third edition of AI in Recruitment and Sourcing. My name is Adrian Kolf, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Matcher, and I am your host for this series. Now, before I announce our third speaker, let me tell you a little bit more about what we do with Matcher. Because with Matcher, we provide embedded sourcing and recruitment teams to startups, scale-ups, and corporates. And we can already work fully embedded into your own teams on a monthly rolling contract or for longer-term engagements. So if you have any hiring needs and you could use some support, please let us know because we would love to get in touch with you. Similar to companies like Miro, TikTok, Stripe, Revolut, and Eco are all companies that we work with. Now, our third speaker is someone that has been on our radar for a long period of time, and I'm very happy that we've finally been able to get a hold of him because, oh boy, this man is busy. Jonathan Kidder is a senior sourcing specialist at Amazon, but also writes an active blog called Wizard Sourcer, and he wrote 19 books. I repeat, 19 books around sourcing and recruitment, and he's an absolute treasure of wisdom. So please welcome on stage, Jonathan. Jonathan, so
Hello,
good.
hello.
Yes, so good to have you here. So good to have you here. Hey, Jonathan, you got to tell us, right? 19 books, and be honest, how many of those books did you write with AI?
None. I agree. I've never used AI for my books, but I published them all pre kind of AI tool launches. So pre kind of this year. But I've been very busy writing books on different topics within
Yeah.
talent sourcing too.
And where do you find the time? Because you have a super busy job at Amazon. How do you do this?
During COVID at night, I had so much free time, and a lot of people spent it maybe cooking or watching Netflix. And I took the opportunity to write on different topics too. So I just had so much free time.
I love that so much. One thing, like question just for our audience, right? Because you made the deliberate decisions like, hey, I'm not going to binge watch Netflix. I'm going to write all this content. What has it brought you?
So much connection to just around the world too. So I've had teams from Japan, Australia, the UK, everywhere reach out to me and just say, "Hey, my team is reading one of your books," and just that gives me so much excitement and just knowing that people are using my books and they're using it within their day to day too. So it just makes me
Wow.
excited that my books went across the globe.
I love that, Jonathan. Before I give you the stage, for everyone that's joining the live stream, please write your comments and questions in the chat. There's a slight delay, and so we will collect all the questions at the end of the conversation to ask Jonathan. Or if there's anything that's so important, then we can answer them in the session ourselves. On the 2nd of November, we organize TRC, the biggest tech recruitment conference of the Benelux. If you happen to be in Amsterdam, we still have a few tickets for the in-person event left, and we also have a few tickets left for our online experience. Every talk is live streamed. We have multiple camera angles. There's a really good level of engagement happening on the live stream. And we are happy to share the 20% discount code with you in the chat. That's still valid for this week. So please don't wait any longer to buy your tickets for the 2nd of November for TRC. Jonathan, are you ready?
I'm ready to go here. Let's do this.
Yes, the wizard is ready. All
The
right.
wizard sorcerer's here.
Yes, the wizard is here. Right. Good luck.
Great. Thank you so much for the introduction too as well. Great. Well, again, my name is Jonathan Kidder, and today I'll be talking about AI in recruiting. So I will showcase around 12 plugin extension tools to help sourcers with their sourcing efforts too. So I'm just really excited to be presenting to you all today as well. So let's get going here. Woo! So in the chat, how are you guys feeling today? Maybe give me your emoji of how you're feeling on a Thursday in the morning. Let's get some comments going. Feeling good, feeling good. Okay, great. All right, get some smiles. Okay. Well, today I'm feeling good too. I'm just excited to be presenting on this topic with you all today, and let's get going here. So the agenda today, it's going to go quick, but I'll talk about myself too, and then I'll talk about an introduction to generative AI. So I'll cover just the basics of what GAI is and how we can use that within talent sourcing, and then I'll demo some tools, talk about some tools to kind of use within your day-to-day duties as a sourcer, and then again, we will conclude on some final thoughts and some Q&A too. So if you guys have questions throughout my presentation, please drop some comments in the comment bar too as well. So great. Again, take a look at my website, wizardsourcer.com. I am the wizard. So yeah, just about me. I am a senior recruiter at Amazon Last Mile too. So I'm based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So represent Minnesota, woo woo, as well. I've got 12 years of recruiting experience, and I started a blog in 2015 called wizardsourcer.com, and definitely it's a great blog if you are new to sourcing, if you want to learn more about sourcing, how to research and kind of how to get more into that. I definitely recommend taking a look at that blog. And then again, I've written 19 books about talent sourcing. So I've been very busy during the COVID years. And it's been a great experience too. So today I will be really focusing on my book titled AI Talent Sourcing. So in that book, I cover around 500 ChatGPT prompts for recruiting tasks. So I cover many different categories within the book too. So I will reference a couple of those through my presentation. But if you want a full on deep kind of area, definitely recommend taking a look at that book and purchasing that book too as well. Again, wizardsourcer.com, take a look at my resource tab too. Under the resource tab, I cover trending recruiting tools too. So I just cover all the latest talent sourcing tools, what's in the market, what's changing. I've added a section on AI too. So if you are interested in exploring AI tools, take a look at that tab and that resource. I also cover recruiter templates. So I've kind of went around and I've reached out to people and I've kind of grabbed up all my favorite recruiter templates. So if you need inspiration, more creativity, take a look at that tab too. I've listed out maybe 200 or so recruiter templates that you can kind of use and kind of change to within your sourcing outreach too. And then Boolean strings. I have a Boolean strings tab that covers all the different types of X-rays, operators, modifiers, how to kind of create different strings, how to find people online, profiles, resumes, about me sections, lists, directories. The list goes on, and it's a great resource too. So if you are looking for more inspiration within kind of creating different Boolean strings, take a look at that section. It's a great resource too. So just check it out. It's a great blog. I've been blogging forever, as it seems. So yeah, it's a great resource. It's a great blog. I try to blog maybe once or twice a month, depending on my time too. I'm pretty busy in general, but yeah. So my first question today is, will AI replace sorcerers? And that's kind of an honest question for you all. So I will wait to hear in the chat, how are you guys feeling about this topic here? Okay, we get some no's. I'm getting some no's to kind of come through. Um, yeah, that's kind of what I feel too as well. No, and here's a reference to Prince. Since I'm based in Minnesota, Prince. I'm a huge fan of Prince here, so I've got even a copy of a canvas here. So go Prince, represent Minnesota as well. But yeah, no, I don't think AI will replace sourcers and kind of the need for sourcing in general too. So yes, represent Minnesota. So even I asked ChatGPT, like, do you think sources will be replaced by AI tools in the future? And it said basically no. So it cannot replicate the human touch to within the recruiting and sourcing process. There's so many different things that we have to do within recruiting and sourcing, and it comes down to the human connection, and touch. And within recruiting, you need to be very empathetic too. I know it's a big decision when people are looking at opportunities outside of their current company or situation too. So recruiters are definitely needed through the whole process too. And AI can't replace kind of that human connection, that relationship that we bring to the table too. So yeah. So current age of AI. So here's where we're at kind of within AI. You can see even robots doing basic tasks. You can see it's a challenge too. So we're way many years away from even them doing basic things. So you can kind of see kind of an example here. Um, Here's another example trying to open a kind of a pipe here. So you can kind of see just like we're many years away, light years away from having even robots do kind of basic things in the outside world too. So, so how should sources respond to AI? So here's kind of a map that my mentor Mark Hamill sent me, and right now we're at the understanding of AI. So we're right at this cliff, right, where it's brand new. ChatGPT was launched at the beginning of this year, and now we're seeing kind of an influx of AI tools, and many sources are kind of like, how do we kind of use this within our day to day? So I'm hearing from sources either they're using it or they're not at all too. So it's kind of like some people are afraid to kind of use it, other people are using it, but they just really don't understand kind of like what it really means to be using it too. So really, we are at the point of just understanding AI. So here's kind of the star where we're at. So we're just kind of going up a hill, and right now I just recommend. That we continue to kind of learn about AI and just kind of like start simple. Start out with using ChatGPT and others, and then kind of go from there too. So keep learning, because if you completely ignore it, Steve, yeah, you're right. You'll go down the sinkhole, and if you don't understand it, it could maybe replace kind of your role too as a sorcerer. So yeah, we should really focus on the fact that, hey, we can use these tools and use it within kind of sourcing and mundane kind of tasks too. So once you understand it, you'll have the power, right, to use it and use it more efficiently too. So um, definitely it's useful, and I think as sourcers we should definitely utilize these tools moving forward too. So, within my book, Generative AI, that's kind of defined as a type of artificial intelligence systems capable of generating text, images, or other media in responses to prompts. So, it's generative AI. So, GAI is kind of how we would phrase it, but you're kind of giving prompts to kind of an AI system, and then it's generating kind of response based on kind of what you're putting in within kind of an output too. So, there's many different AI tools, ChatGPT 4, Google Bard, Bing AI. There's so many different ones, but today I'll really just focus on ChatGPT 4 and how to kind of use that within your sourcing capabilities too. So um, I know I talked about text. There's also image, kind of AI imaging too. So there's a tool called Midjourney, and me and my mentor Mark Hamill, we were like, man, we should do something like we both love Star Wars. So maybe we could, upload an image and just see what it does within a prompt. So we're like, hey, can you picture me and Mark in the woods within kind of a Star Wars image? And this is what Midjourney kind of created too, out of nothing too. So it's kind of funny how we're like, you can take an image and it can kind of create a prompt, an image prompt as a result of that too. So that's Mark and that's me holding the red lightsaber as well. So it's pretty cool, right? It's a cool image. Here's another one, me and my buddy. But yeah, like you can do text, you can do images, you can do videos. AI is just going to revolutionize so many different areas within recruiting and then outside of recruiting. There's just so many things that you'll be able to do within the future too. So, Mark, I'm not worthy of his leadership. He's been a mentor of mine for a few years. He's fantastic. He's also presenting um, with you guys in the future on AI too. So he's just a great great person to connect with and reach out to. So, is anyone using generative AI? Can I get here's a Prince reference? Can I get a yes or no in the comments? Are you guys using it? Um, I'll wait to hear back here. Anyone using AI? A little bit, yeah, and that's what I'm hearing for most people too. But it's kind of a newer area. So here's some general tips on creating prompts within ChatGPT or Claude or others. Just start simple. Be direct. Create, write is kind of how you would kind of phrase your prompt. So create this, write this, rewrite this is how you would kind of start out with your prompt at the beginning too, and then follow-up format. So once it kind of creates a prompt, go back and say, hey, rewrite, reorganize, re-summarize the prompt too. So if you're having it do kind of an outreach message or having it, hey, can you write kind of an intake format for a hiring manager, have it reorganize it, simplify it, make it be more direct too. So you kind of have to kind of re-summarize whatever it gives you to as an output, and then refine your prompts. So again, you could say remove, add, suggest within your prompt kind of structure too. And then of course, fact check any data or sources listed within kind of the prompt output. So again, for ChatGPT, it's pre 2021 data. So it's not going to be 2023. It's not going to be updated as well. So just recognize that most of the data that it does kind of give you, it's going to be pre 2023 data too. And again, save your prompt history. There's so many different extensions. One I'll highlight, you're able to kind of save your prompt history within a folder section and kind of go back and kind of reference that too. So it's a lot easier instead of just like doing a prompt and then forgetting about it or losing it. It's there's an extension that you can kind of use to kind of save it within a folder format and then kind of go back in the future to and look at it. So yeah, and then of course, don't share any confidential information within ChatGPT or others too. So it is an open source AI tool. So anything you share will kind of go out publicly too. So never upload any confidential information. So financial data, proprietary technology documents, sales projections, project plans, or any employer candidate information within the tool too. So I would not recommend sharing any public information like that within the tool because again, it is open source AI too. So good to mention that. And then again, just keep experimenting, play around with it, explore. I've learned so much by just kind of logging in, kind of testing it out, asking it questions, and kind of going from there too. So prompt fundamentals. So there's several different types of prompt formats that you should just be aware of. So first one is just open-ended prompts too. So just kind of asking questions. Prompt completion is like, hey, ask it, can you do this for me, or can you complete this task too? And then question and answering too. So just asking it a question like, what's the top universities in Minnesota? Can you create a list for me to kind of source and look at too? So those are like the three ways of creating different prompts and just kind of understanding kind of the formatting too as well. So ChatGPT 4, they've got ChatGPT 3.5 and then of course 4. I recommend getting ChatGPT Plus because after a while, you're going to get maxed out. So it is kind of a license kind of situation too. So maybe if you do maybe more than like a dozen or so prompts, it's going to lock you out to if you have just a free version of ChatGPT 4. So I recommend going with the pro version because it just helps kind of expand your prompts too, and your ability to kind of dive deeper into kind of using and utilizing the tool too. So, but within ChatGPT, there is kind of a store. So there's so many different kind of apps that you can kind of add and kind of use. And there's a couple that I recommend going into more deeply here: Resume Copilot, Prompt Perfect, and then Web Scraper too. So there's a couple different ways that you can kind of embed and add like plugins here. So, but yeah, go to the plugin store. They're always updating so many different types of tools and plugins too. So keep exploring. I'm not saying too many related to like recruiting, but you could search for sales, and a lot of ones that are similar to sales are going to be perfect for recruiting and recruiters too and sourcers. So definitely kind of recognize that. There's one that I would recommend. It's called OfferZen, and it's a database for tech career recruitment pay insights too. So it's a tool that just helps you understand the tech market too. So you could create and download this kind of plug-in tool and then ask it different questions about kind of like salary information or industry data within different markets. Again, it's probably better suited for North America markets. I don't know much about in the UK, but it's just kind of a unique tool that gives you insights on tech information too. So definitely take a look at this one, play around with it. And again, there's just a lot that you can kind of do too as well. So yes, very, very useful. So you might ask yourself like, hey, is there kind of an area where I can look for more kind of plugin extensions? And there is. There's a website called whatplugin.ai, and it's always updating all the time. So anytime there's kind of a new plugin that you can kind of play around with, for data research, for web content, for automation integration, AI development tools, audio, image generation. They're always updating this site. I found it extremely useful too. So if you need a site that you just, hey, I want to figure out where people are showcasing the latest kind of plugin tools for AI, ChatGPT, go to this website, save this website, bookmark it, and I subscribe to. So anytime there's different ones that you subscribe to, it just kind of gives you an email. It tells you, hey, there's a new release on this type of outreach tool or data research tool. So definitely recommend taking a look at this site and subscribing to this email newsletter too as well. So going back to this, I know I referenced this earlier, but saving prompts in folders, there's a fantastic free extension for this too. So um, you would go to Google and Google Store, and you would kind of download this extension. And then once you download it, it would sync up and it would give you different folders of things to kind of save your prompt history too. So you just kind of once you go to do a prompt, it would kind of give you this plus sign, and then you would say add to the folder. And it's simple, it's basic, but it's very useful too. So yeah, you would go and download this kind of extension tool, ChatGPT Chat Organizer folder extension. And once you download that, it's extremely useful. Here's some examples that I've embedded within my own kind of prompt history. So talent mapping, data research, DEI, so diversity sourcing prompts, outreach templates, talent sourcing, Boolean search strings, and then all my plugin prompts too. So if I'm using kind of like a web scraper prompt or prompt perfect or OfferZen, I try to kind of save all those prompts and put it within this folder section too. So extremely useful. It's extremely basic, but definitely recommend downloading this extension too at the same time. So there's so many different prompt ideas within talent sourcing too. In my book, I cover a ton of these too. So the list goes on too. So I won't go into too much detail on this, but like candidate outreach, optimizing your job descriptions, talent mapping, talent sourcing, the list goes on too. And then within my book, I cover each area and list out all my favorite prompts too. So, and again, I cover around 500 different examples within the book. It took me about 6 months of research on my own end to kind of come and look at each category and then kind of break down all my favorite prompt kind of questions too. So it's very useful, and definitely recommend taking a look at that book too. So again, I'll cover kind of my favorite ones. Talent mapping prompt ideas. Can you provide insights on the companies that have this required skill or niche skill? So it would kind of give you a list of competitors within this skill. So maybe you have a tech stack that you're looking at, like, hey, can you give me kind of a list of companies that specialize in Kotlin, Android, and it will list out different companies for you to kind of research for sourcing. Or can you list out companies in this specific field? What are the top companies? What's happening in industry? It will give you that data too. Or another great one is just, hey, can you list out universities that specialize in computer science in this country or state too? So I've used that if, hey, I'm working on a rec in Seattle, Washington, and can you give me the top tech universities in this arena? And then within ChatGPT or others, it'll just kind of list out all the different universities, tech universities, community colleges that you want to kind of target too. So it's a great way to kind of look at data within talent mapping and kind of use that to your advantage when you are kind of building out kind of a talent sourcing strategy too. So talent sourcing prompt ideas. There's other ones too, but this one's great. So maybe you have a job description, you could kind of upload that and then just say, hey, can you generate a list of relevant keywords based on this job description too? So you could do that. Or, hey, can you generate Boolean search strings based on these required skill sets too? Or rewrite this job description to optimize it for these specific areas too. So there's just a lot that you can do within talent sourcing for job descriptions. So, yeah, the list goes on and on and on. So, extremely useful. And then for Boolean, there is some drawbacks to it. Sometimes the operators don't really work that well, but I've had it kind of target different names of resumes, create a Boolean string that targets that, or create a Boolean string to find email addresses, or whatever to what you're looking for. So yeah, I'll cover a couple different AI tools here too. So Maximi is a great free kind of freemium, as I would say, tool. And what it is it allows you to use generative AI tools all in one place. So you could do one prompt and then you could do it within ChatGPT 4, you could do it within Claude, you could do it within Bard, Bing AI, all for free within one area. So it's just maximizing your efforts. So if you want to explore kind of ChatGPT, but you just, hey, I've heard there's so many other ones, you could use this kind of dashboard and do one prompt and it'll give you different results for each one too. So it syncs it all up together. It's extremely useful too. So here's the dashboard too. So you could kind of choose which generative AI tool that you want to use. And then it kind of gives you different areas of focus. So, hey, create this prompt in Bing, and then you could see what it does, or create it within Claude, and then you can kind of see the differences too. So it's kind of interesting to kind of see the differences and just kind of see um, what's kind of the output of what you're creating too. So um, oh, oh, a couple people are on the call. Thanks, Steve and Jung Kim. Great call outs here. Thanks so much for your inputs too. Glad you guys are joining in too. So, but yeah, this is an excellent free kind of tool that I recommend kind of exploring and diving more into as well. So definitely bookmark this site, take a look at it too. Yes, really great. MetaView is kind of a new one too, and it's amazing too. But basically, what it does is you could log in and it generates kind of phone screen interview questions. So it's a video kind of Zoom chime kind of program. Think of it as Zoom plus AI plus recording notes plus CRM all in one. So it's a pretty unique kind of tool that's just was recently launched a few months back, and it's highly useful too. So if you are someone, maybe you have a new rec and you just don't know much about it and you're not technical enough, do a demo of this kind of platform. You could log in, you could talk to a candidate, and as you're screening the candidate, this tool will suggest intake questions, hiring questions, screening questions, and then it will come up with kind of follow-ups. So yeah, helps create technical phones interviewing questions. It helps with probing follow-up AI questions, And then, of course, it records your interviews and helps organize your notes too. So it's a very interesting type of tool. It's something that's cutting edge too. So definitely recommend taking a look at this one. It's very useful too, and I would say it's going to be interesting to see how we can kind of use AI within screening and interviewing within the future too. So yeah, Notion, think of it as just a better feature writing kind of tool compared to just ChatGPT. So it's kind of similar to like Jasper, but it's a little cheaper in comparison. So it just helps with grammar. It's kind of similar to Jasper Grammarly too, but highly useful, and it's only around $10 a month. So it's useful if you want to like look at taking notes, interview notes. It helps organize your interview notes. It helps you organize different interview screens, and then task management helps you keep organized and focused on each individual task too. So you're able to kind of prioritize different content and keep it all organized too. And then on top of that, it's used for kind of professional development. So you can create weekly and monthly sourcing goals and then kind of follow up within kind of the platform too. So it's highly useful. So think of it as kind of like AI plus content kind of all-in-one kind of feature too. So yeah, UAI is another one. It's kind of a search engine too. So um, think of it almost like an AI search engine on steroids too. So you're able to kind of do a search, and it's going to give you kind of a prompt search history too. So it's kind of combining ChatGPT plus a search engine, and then you're kind of seeing the end result from that. So it's highly useful. Look at, they do have a extension tool, so you could download that and kind of use that too on your Chrome kind of browser too. But I did a basic search here. So I said search LinkedIn for software engineers based in Austin, Texas with iOS experience. And then right away, it gave me kind of a list of candidates to kind of reach out to. So um, highly useful, very easy to understand too. So if you want to just use kind of a search engine, plus you want to use AI, definitely recommend taking a look at u.ai too. So let me take a break here. Take a breather here. Oh, and John, yes, great call out. You is definitely a great tool, and I know it's um, highly recommended by AI kind of talent sources too within different communities too. So great call out here. Another one is called harpa.ai, and it is a ChatGPT Pro automation copilot kind of extension too. So once you download it, it would pop up on the right side of your screen, and you could go to any website. But I went to LinkedIn, and you can have it kind of take a look at the page. So it could capture anything on the page that you want it to kind of capture, and then from there you could say, "Hey, can you compose an outreach message to this particular profile?" And then from there, it will automatically create kind of an outreach message based on what it sees in the summary sections of a LinkedIn profile too. So it's amazing too. It's kind of a newer one. And it's highly useful if you are looking to create kind of use AI when creating kind of outreach messages too. Yeah, and then from there, once it creates kind of the output, you could say, "Hey, I'm done with this outreach message," or "Hey, continue writing," or maybe, "Can you shorten this message, or can you make it more professional sounding, or can you turn it into kind of a joke to, or third person, or refine it, or enrich it, or humanize it?" So there's many different ways to kind of make it more personalized too. So it's not just like an AI kind of, hey, just copy paste everything from this person's LinkedIn and create kind of an outreach message. It you're able to kind of humanize it and take that information and then make a very personalized outreach message too. So it's amazing to what it can do. There is a Discord website that you can kind of go into if you want to learn more about Harpa and how to kind of personalize it even more. So definitely go to Discord and look up Harpa AI too. This is a great forum chat group where you can just kind of learn more about kind of the tool and what it does too as well. So definitely recommend that one. Another one, Merlin AI, same kind of thing as Harpa, but so once you download this within the Google Chrome store, it would pop up on the right side of your screen on any website. But again, I tested this out on LinkedIn. From there, I did an example. I did my own LinkedIn profile. So you would select capture this information on this page. So then it would capture Jonathan Kidder, the LinkedIn, all my information on my LinkedIn profile. And then from there, you're able to ask it to, hey, create an outreach message to Jonathan based on what you captured on the screen and on the page. And then from there it creates kind of an outreach message too. So fantastic too. It's just phenomenal. It's great too, and it's very similar to Harpa, but it's a little bit easier to kind of understand and kind of utilize too. So I recommend Merlin over Harpa if you are kind of looking at each one too. And again, you could save your prompts too. So if you want to go back and kind of look at your outreach messages, what you're doing with an AI, it's a great resource too as well. So yeah, on top of that, it does also sync up within your social media channels. So if you want to create kind of a comment or post, you can have it create kind of an AI generated message within here's Facebook, but it also syncs up with Twitter or LinkedIn too. So very useful too. Um, just amazing too. Yeah. So here's an example that I did for a template example using Merlin. So I had it capture a candidate's LinkedIn profile. They're an iOS engineer, and I said make just kind of a funny message. And here's kind of what it created based on kind of my prompt. So from there, it made a really funny message as well. You can kind of see, and here's the end result when I sent the message out to this candidate. I'm not currently on the market for iOS roles, but I must say this is the most awesome message I've received from a recruiter ever. So just kind of a funny response as well. So AI, it's kind of changing what we're doing, and you're able to kind of personalize things, make it funny, make it engaging, and then get a better response back too. So definitely recommend Merlin as well. Another one, Prospect Intel, is great. So this one is kind of in beta mode, but you can go to this website, Prospect Intel. You could upload someone's LinkedIn profile, and what it does is it will summarize their personality for you too. So it'll tell you, like, hey, like this person likes to focus on achieving results. They're focused on analyzing data. And they're really focused on attention to detail too. So I did my own and verified my email, and it just kind of gave me kind of a preferred communication style. So it's very, very interesting too. And then I found this interesting too. It said things not to say. So don't say how was your weekend too, or so be very direct with me. It sounds like the way I post stuff on my LinkedIn, I'm very direct and very straightforward too. So this is a free kind of beta tool to kind of experiment with. It's pretty interesting too. So what it does is you could go to someone's LinkedIn profile, and then it just kind of pulls out kind of a summary of everything they've done or shared, and then from there it just kind of tells you how they will react to kind of outreach messages too. So very, very interesting too. Another one, People GPT. This is a first ever search engine for people data online. It's created by Juicebox, and you could sign up to be on a beta list too and kind of demo the tool. But it's similar to ChatGPT, but it's focused on external sourcing for profiles. So here's an example. I said search for software engineers in California with 4 years of experience at these particular companies, and then I select duplicate query, and then from there it kind of generated a list of profiles, so around 200 profiles, external profiles based on my requirements. And then from there you're able to send out a message to those individual profiles, and each one's going to be personalized too. So it's amazing, right? Tana, yes, exactly. It's phenomenal too. So it's an external sourcing tool, and definitely recommend doing kind of a demo too of this. But it's just phenomenal. And then you could do kind of email sequences. I think up to 4 different sequences too. So if they respond back, it stops, or if they don't, you could kind of do another template sequence, and then kind of go from there too. So but just overall fantastic too. TA Buddy is another one. It's kind of a free kind of tool, but it's tabuddy.ai, and it's basically kind of a ChatGPT kind of prompt tool, but it's meant and created for talent sourcers too. So you could create Boolean strings. You could have it do an X-ray of LinkedIn, or just do an X-ray on any particular site too. So it's a free tool. I did a couple different examples here for like a Java developer and looking for AWS Apollo Cloud Security. And here's kind of the end result. So it generated a very decent Boolean string. And then again, the operators and modifiers are correct too. So if you would just do this search within ChatGPT 4, it's not going to be as correct too. So definitely very useful. Another one, I uploaded a job description here, and then I said, hey, I'm looking for software engineers with Java. And then it gave me kind of a LinkedIn Boolean string uh, example here that you kind of go and generate a link on Google too. So highly useful. Again, you could just do kind of a generic X-ray too. So software engineer, and then 1 to 2 years of experience, and then Java, and then location, and it kind of gives you different string examples too. So highly useful. It's free. Definitely experiment too as well. So yeah, great call outs here. Cargo is one if you are looking to do kind of a free mail merge. So Cargo is a Google Sheets kind of add-on tool that integrates within ChatGPT. So let's say you have a list of first and last names of people that you would just automatically do kind of a mail merge within Google Sheets on your own. This one's kind of more useful because you can upload this plugin, and then it will auto-populate the information about the individual too. So it would give you all their information of their job titles, the summary of what they're working on too, and you can auto-populate all that information within a Google Sheet too. And then from there, you can have it write a prompt message too. So here's an example of creating kind of a mass mail merge. So it pulls the first name, their last name, their key responsibilities, and it personalizes each individual profile that you're kind of uploading within this Google Sheet doc too. So it's free. It's not like very, it's more generic. It's not very personalized, but it's a great start if you are someone who does lots of mail merges too in general too. If you're just using a mail merge with Excel, you're not going to go to this kind of level and this degree too. So recommend this free plugin. Play around with it too, and yeah, it's useful. Dork GPT, it's this one's more kind of a site search too. So it's more OSNet level, security level, cybersecurity level. But what you could do is you could search, you could kind of do kind of a search for software engineers on LinkedIn, Minnesota, Minneapolis as an example, and then it will give you kind of a general site search example. So site search linkedin.com. So it's great. There's other ones too. If you're looking for like Python developers on LinkedIn, or directories, or admin access, or usernames, or emails. It goes a little bit more in depth than just using kind of a search within ChatGPT. This one's more cybersecurity focused too. So useful. It's free to kind of download. I would say think of it as kind of a Google plus ChatGPT search engine type of tool, and it's great for site searching too. So if you want to X-ray different examples, I recommend this one too as well. Another one, a plugin scraper tool. So this one is a plugin kind of extension tool within ChatGPT. And once you run this kind of scraper and add it, you could say run the search on Google for site, LinkedIn, person with a Gmail with this job title, and then it will kind of scrape externally on a search engine and then give you a list of profile names too. So it's useful. It's another great one. It's free to use within ChatGPT 4. So take a look at it. It's quite useful. So for me, I did one example here. I had it scraped for engineers in this particular location, and then it found emails, and then I was able to kind of reach out from that point on. So it does work. It's useful. Take a look at it too. So another one, LinkedIn is just throwing their hat into the ring now too with an AI too. So if you've noticed, if you log in to your LinkedIn draft with AI beta, so if you go to LinkedIn Recruiter, you're able to draft a LinkedIn message now automatically. So it's useful. It's not as in depth if you were going to use like Merlin or Harpa, but it's still great. It's free to kind of use too. So play around with it, experiment with it. Yeah, it's I think they're, a long ways away from other tools, but it's a free alternative too if you don't want to spend any money on other extension tools. Yeah, and then take a look at my tools website. So Wizard Sourcer under my research tabs tools. Again, I've listed out all my favorite AI automation tools, contact finding tools, email tracking tools. The list goes on. Here's kind of my top favorite ones right now. Of course, Seek Out. Number two, UAI. Number three, People GBT, and a couple other ones too. So I've listed out my favorites within this blog too. So um, just extremely useful as well. So with that, does anyone have any kind of questions for me? I know I went off on different tangents a bit, but anyone have any kind of generic questions for me too as well? Oh,
That was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. And multiple people, Steve especially, was saying in the chat, my ears are burning with all these. Yeah, yeah. So my biggest question is, right? How many of these tools do you really use in your kind of like day-to-day work?
Right. I would go
Be
back to
honest.
my top ones, of course, I'm using UAI and People GPT. Those are kind of the two ones that I'm really, really diving into with my
Yeah,
time too.
yeah.
So besides that, I would say just experiment with the other ones. See if they're valuable. If they're not, then don't waste your time too. So really it's up to just what you need from a
Yeah.
tool. You have to kind of ask yourself what's the value of it, what's the value add, and then just kind of go from there.
And how do you combine those two tools, UAI
So
and People
UAI
GPT?
is more like a search engine AI tool. So you're
Yeah,
able to kind of do searches and it's combining like ChatGPT within a Google search. So it just gives you the ability to kind of create different prompts and then it gives you search results too. So it just makes you more efficient if you are sourcing externally too. And then People GPT is more or less kind of a external sourcing kind of tool where you're able to give it a prompt, search for these types of people, and then from there it will create personalized outreach messages to within its own platform.
and how much of those personalized outreach messages do you then actually personalize yourself, or is it already good enough that you feel like this is I couldn't have done a better job than write this personalization?
I would say if you're using like Harpa or Merlin, it gives you one example based on what you're pulling on someone's profile. But I always go back and kind of change things. So you could kind of go through. It gives you kind of another prompt where it says, "Do you want to like summarize this more efficiently, or do you want to make it more funny sounding or more third person sounding?" So I always personalize. So don't just take the first thing and kind of paste it too, because it will sound too generic and it won't sound personalized. So I would say do it two, three, 4 times before you kind of send the final one too. So take your time with that.
And do you mean 2 to 3 times, like using the prompt, or do you mean like actually adjusting the message yourself?
I would say within the prompt, so you could have it kind of you could tell it re-summarize it or make it shorter, or so you could kind of go through and kind of edit your prompt. So I would
Yeah.
say do it a few times, and then from there, you could even take it, copy it, and then even reread it, make sure it sounds personalized, and then send it out too. But the point is, I wouldn't just take the first thing that's out there and just copy and paste it because it's going to sound too generic too.
By estimation, can you move your camera a little bit because you're a little
I'm,
bit cut
I'm
off?
so
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. That's
I'm so
better.
sorry.
Yeah, no worries. And how much more efficient do you feel that your work has become because of the use of these tools? If you put a percentage on it.
I would say my engagement is higher too. I would say it's up from what I've seen in the past, but I would say if everyone just uses AI in the future, then maybe we'll see kind of a decrease in
Yeah,
the response. So it's all about personalization. Take the time, use AI, but then also read it, rewrite it, personalize it, make it sound human, and then send it out to because I've gotten so many messages where I just know they just copied and pasted my name on a template, mail merge, and it's just not personalized at all too. So
yeah,
people are going to recognize that. And I'm sure the more people use AI, the more people are going to recognize like, hey, this was created by an AI tool and
yeah.
it's not personalized at all.
And what do you feel in terms of your own work, right? Like what percentage has AI changed to make you work more efficiently?
That's such a good question too. I would say for basic things, so just outreach and external sourcing, it's helped a lot too.
Yeah,
So it's made me more productive too. Yeah, it's small things that are changing kind of what I do. It's not like major things too. So,
yeah.
but it's helped with just basic things.
But like percentage wise, 10% more efficient, 20,
Maybe like
30, 40,
10%. Yeah,
10%.
10, maybe
Okay.
10%. It's not like major, and that's why I feel like like AI won't fully replace the sourcer. It will
Yeah,
just make them more efficient with their time. But maybe
yeah.
around 10%, I would say.
Still 10%.
Hey,
That's still
there you
10%,
go.
right? Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's correct.
And that's what you have up against the competition, right?
Yep, exactly.
Hey, and there were a couple questions in the
Yeah.
chat. There was one Steve shared. Does this make classic Boolean no longer relevant?
Yeah, I would say you could use the tools. Some of them are not the best. If you're just using ChatGPT, the operators modifiers are not the best. So I would use like another tool called TA Buddy, which is more efficient with the strings. So yeah, I would say just use it. You could still use traditional strings, but use these tools, to just improve it a little bit more too. So um, I don't think it will fully take over like what we did with strings in the past, but I would say it's just going to make you more efficient by maybe 10% more.
Okay, interesting. Um, Steve asked, do you dedicate a certain amount of time daily to get in the habit of using AI related tools?
Yeah, I do. I always look at the latest things. There's so many different websites out there too that are talking about it, and I've got so many connections through my blog to a lot of people just reach out to me and, hey, take a look at this new tool. So it's a great community of sources that kind of are constantly sharing online. So I always recommend going on Facebook or on Twitter or even on LinkedIn, and people are always showcasing different tools. And
Yeah,
there's many people like me and others that are sharing new technology. So for me, I'm always learning, always growing, and I recommend you all do the same.
yeah. Um, and then Steve asked, has anyone used it for fun? Planning a vacation, writing a blog post, planning a menu. Have you ever experimented with anything outside of work?
Yeah, you could do it for anything. I've had it write birthday cards. I've had it write poems too for
Yeah,
my wife. I mean,
yeah.
you could
All
do
of
it
a
for so
sudden,
many things. All
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 of a
the
sudden,
above.
you're very romantic. All of a sudden, you're
Yes.
very romantic. Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, is there anything that you would like to give back to your audience, especially the people that are kind of like new to the space? Like anything that like you would give as a last advice?
I would say, continuously learning is a key thing. So play around with these tools, experiment, and don't be afraid of them too. Because I've talked to so many sources that are just like, they don't really understand what this is and how it can be used to make them more efficient too. So I'm hearing that. I'm either hearing like people are really excited to use it or people are not using it at all. So I would say just experiment. Don't be afraid to kind of play around with it and just keep growing too at the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah. I love it. Jonathan, this was such an informative session. We probably need to like rewatch it again to like see all the different tools that are out there. What is the best way for people to connect with you?
Reach out to me on my blog, wizardsourcer.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn too as well, Jonathan Kidder.
Amazing. Jonathan, thank you so much for the session, and it was an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sticking with us for that third session with so much valuable content. If you haven't already, sign up for a newsletter, follow us on LinkedIn and on YouTube to stay up to date of the latest information that we're sharing. And I hope to see you next week, whereby we are going to dive even deeper in the AI world with Michael Petrosci, who is the co-founder of Job in Cloud, and he will share more on AI and automation and how you can integrate certain things and different AI tools with one another. And so I hope to see you next week. Thank you so much for dialing and being with us, and see you.